Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Mission Forward podcast. I'm your host, Carrie Fox, a social impact communicator, a B Corporation leader, and founder of Mission Partners. And it is summertime, which is a great time to catch up on some podcasts that you may have missed. Well, we're going to make it easy for you because this summer, while we are busy working on fantastic new content for the fall, we are bringing you a lineup of our favorite and most listened to episodes to help you advance your work as a communicator for change. Every other week, we'll bring you a short form essay from my Finding the Words column. So join us starting this week for some of my favorite conversations with some of my most special people. And then head over to missionforward.us to keep engaging with this show's content and guests. Oh, and by the way, be sure to give our show a like or a follow as it helps us get this show into even more heads and hearts just like yours. And now on to today's episode, The Letter in Question. So not so long ago, I gathered with some colleagues to review updates to a brand guide. We were deep in the language preferences section of this guide when the team came upon a point of tension. All agreed to capitalize racial, ethnic, and cultural identities such as Black, Asian, Latino, and Navajo. But still, there was this disagreement among those who wished to capitalize white and those who wanted to lowercase white. A matter of capitalization, but so much more. In between the words of our conversation was an apparent unease about what a capital W or a lowercase w might or might not convey to key audiences and what it might or might not convey about an organization's values. As with life, there is no simple answer to this question, but examining and understanding our language choices matter as we convey different messages based on our choices. As I sat and reflected on my preferences, I wondered if I could adequately stand behind my recommendation, which has been aligned with the Associated Press style guide since 2020. So I got to reading. Nearly every grammar style manual has its own take on this issue. Unsurprisingly, confusion and in some cases contention over the issue exists. On one hand, some say that white doesn't represent a shared culture and history like Black culture does. Conversely, some say that lowercasing white is an anti-Black act, perpetuating the idea that white people are the default race. To help inform your point of view on this issue, as it helped to inform mine, here's a brief roundup of insights and perspectives on the capital or lowercase w in question. The Seattle Times. They note Black, capital B, as belonging to people who are part of the African diaspora. They capitalize Black because it reflects shared cultures and experiences. They note white, lowercase, as a term belonging to people with light-colored skin, especially those of European descent. Unlike Black, capital, it is lowercase, as its use is a physical description of people whose backgrounds may spring from different cultures. Okay, there you go. 1. 2, Columbia Journalism Review. They suggest a pretty similar approach. Capitalize Black and not white when referring to groups in racial, ethnic, or cultural terms. Here's what they say. For many people, the word Black reflects a shared sense of identity and community. The word white carries a different set of meanings. Capitalizing the word in this context risks following the lead of white supremacists. CBS News capitalizes white, though not when referring to white supremacists, white nationalists, or white privilege. The National Association of Black Journalists also recommends capitalizing white when describing race. The Chicago Manual Style, which previously lowercased Black and white to refer to a person's race or ethnicity, rewrote its policy in 2020 to write Black with a capital B and white with a capital W. Similar terms to maintain consistency, like brown. The American Psychological Association also capitalizes Black and white. The Associated Press, now here's one to hang on, rewrote its policy in 2020, again, as noted above, and this is the one that I had been referencing, from its previous guidance to lowercase both Black and white. Now, they capitalize Black in racial, ethnic, or cultural sense, conveying a shared sense of history, identity, and community, whereas they lowercase the term white in racial, ethnic, and cultural instances, noting that white people generally do not share the same history and culture. I got 2 more for you, and then we're going to wrap up because the importance of the context here is coming. The Center for the Study of Social Policy capitalizes white when referring to people who are racialized as white in the United States. including those who identify with ethnicities and nationalities that can be traced back to Europe. As they said in their letter about this, we believe it is important to call attention to white as a race, to understand and give voice to how whiteness functions in our social and political institutions and communities. Moreover, the detachment of white as a proper noun allows white people to sit out of conversations about race and removes accountability from white people's and white institutions' involvement in racism. Their statement is one of the most poignant that I've read, and it is worth you reading too. So, big W or little w? Ultimately, it depends on your preference and your organizational values. Choose the style that works for your organization and stick with it. Just be open and ready to re-examine your choice and back it up with reason. Whether your peers do the same or not is unimportant. Because bottom line here, style guides are designed to be just that, guides. Use them to help inform what you're trying to convey. And then set the letters aside and have your actions do the real talking. And that brings us to the end of this short form episode of Mission Forward. If you heard something that's going to stick with you, drop me a line at carrie@mission.partners and let me know what's got you thinking. And definitely check out some of our longer form shows on the power of communications. Mission Forward is produced with the support of Sadie Lockhart in association with True Story FM. Engineering by Pete Wright. If your podcast app allows for ratings and reviews, I hope you will consider doing just that for this show. But the best thing you can do to support Mission Forward is simply to share the show with a friend or a colleague. Thanks for your support, and we'll see you next time.